Welcome back, everyone, to the Late Night Review. And tonight I want to talk about a movie that, to me, it never gets much credit. It doesn't get enough credit, I should say. Neither does the whole series. I think this is one of the best horror franchise, period. I mean, right up there with the Psycho franchise, which is all of those movies are solid, pretty solid. This one is no exception. It's a very solid franchise, and I'm talking about the movie Stepfather. The Stepfather. This is part of a franchise that's very good to me. There's not a bad movie in the franchise. All the movies that I've seen in this franchise are good, and I believe I've seen them all. There's 4 movies. If they made a 5th one, I don't know about it, but I've seen all 4 movies. I believe there's only 4. And this movie, when it first came out, I watched it and I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I was just a kid when I saw it, and I saw a lot of horror movies as a kid, and this was a very good horror movie. And I think it stands up. I think it's very, very well done. I think it's suspenseful. I think it's scary. They couldn't have found a better person to play the stepfather than Terry O'Quinn. Terry O'Quinn does a great job. He really brings this deviant, clever, maniacal serial killer to life. It's a very well done movie. And Stephen Shellen is in here. He's one of the guys that's going after him and trying to find out where he's at. Stephen Shellen is a very good actor. One movie that really stands out to me that Stephen Shellen was in was called Murder One. Richard Thomas is in there as well, and it's another 80s movie, I believe. And yeah, it was an 80s movie, and it was really well done. It was really good, inspired by a true story. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. It's a very well done movie. Disturbing, very disturbing. They're killing people in here in Murder One. Stephen Shellen was very believable in that. Seen it multiple times as a kid and then as an early adult too, but I haven't sat down and watched it from beginning to end for a long time. I tried to find it on YouTube for free and I couldn't, but this is a very good movie, Murder One. That was inspired by a true story. Richard Thomas, he played Norman Bates in Psycho 4, which was a good movie. There's not a bad movie in the Psycho franchise, I don't think. The remake was good as well. It's not my favorite of the franchise, but it was good. And Viggo Mortensen has a part in there too in the remake. But this Stepfather movie is one of the best horror movies I'd ever seen, and it still stands up for me. If you've never delved into if you like scary movies, suspenseful and disturbing, maybe involving a serial killer and that kind of thing, the Stepfather series is just great. I mean, it's a very, very solid franchise, and it doesn't get talked about, I don't think, as much as it should on review channels. It's really, really good. Maybe a lot of people haven't seen the movies, and I understand that. They don't come on television that much anymore like they used to, although I did see them. It was funny. There was one on Father's Day. There was one channel, and I forgot the name of it, like 3 years ago, and they did a Stepfather marathon, and I couldn't believe it was on Father's Day, and that was kind of funny. But yeah, Terry O'Quinn, he's in Stepfather 1 and 2. He's not in 3, and he's not in the remake, but they're all good. They're all good movies. He does a great job. And Jill Shulen, she was in the Phantom of the Opera with Robert Englund, and she does a good job in here as the stepdaughter. Terry Hatch is in here; she's his new wife, and she's in here. I've seen her in other movies. She does a really good job, and she's the mother of. She plays the mother of Jill Shulen, and she does a really good job. And I think Terry Quinn not only does a good job in this movie, but he does a good job in pretty much everything I've ever seen him in. He's a very good actor. I know he was in Lost, and I've never really got into the series Lost. Not because it's not good. I think it is probably good, but I'm just not really a TV person, a television series person. I like some of the classic series a long time ago. Terry O'Quinn, I believe he had a small part in Primal Fear with Richard Gere and Edward Norton. I think he had a small part in there, if I remember right. But he was definitely in Silver Bullet. I think he played the sheriff in Silver Bullet. And he does a really good job in Stepfather too, also. But I don't think they could have found a better person to play the stepfather in this one. By the way, my videos are unscripted. I'm kind of a casual YouTuber for those who are new to the channel. They're unscripted and very few takes. Almost all my videos have one take. There's been a few where I've done multiple takes, but very few. Usually my videos is just one take and I let it fly and leave a lot of things in that maybe other people might cut out. But I'm just kind of a casual YouTuber. And it's fun to put these videos out once in a while. My channel was originally just supposed to be about me showing my art because I like my art. I never wanted a YouTube channel. I just thought, gee, it'd be a shame if more people didn't see my art. And so I put it on the channel a few years ago. I started the YouTube channel. Just that's why it's called Doorway to the Paintings instead of something like Doorway to Film or Doorway to the Movies. It's Doorway to the Paintings still, never changed the name. And my art videos never got a lot of views, by the way. So my wife suggested, why don't you put an exercise video? Why don't you put on your monthly workout that you do? And I hesitated for months, finally did it. And then those videos got more views, quite a few more views than my art videos generally. So once in a while, I put my workouts on my channel, but I like to work out in private, so I kind of reluctantly did that, and I put them on. They got more views. Something I always had in the back of my mind was doing these movie reviews, and I always liked them. I grew up watching Siskel and Ebert. I have a lot of nostalgia for that show, and I still watch it from time to time on YouTube. I think those are classics. There's some really good YouTube channels that I found that do movie reviews. I think they do a great job. A lot of them are working harder than me because, like I said, I'm a casual YouTuber. And I've always had it in the back of my mind because I always like movies. I grew up watching a ton of movies. So I have my own. I recorded so many movies when they came on TV, and then the pay channels like HBO, Cinemax, and Encore. My parents used to have Encore as well. I used to record a whole bunch and had my own library of recorded videos when I was a kid and seen so much. So I figured, why not try it? Now my movie reviews are getting more, on average, more than any of the other stuff I do on my channel, any of the videos. So that's why I continue to keep putting them out. It's been an interesting journey. Kind of a reluctant YouTuber, but now I'm getting into making these movie review videos for the past year or so. So I hope everyone enjoys them, and I hope you like and subscribe, and that helps me a lot. Hit the thumbs up button. Deeply appreciate that, folks. And like I said, Stepfather, back to the movie, is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I think the Stepfather franchise deserves more credit. I think they're well done, well acted. I haven't seen a Stepfather movie where the acting is bad. They're all good. For a horror franchise, Stepfather, thumbs way up. This franchise is exquisite in terms of being consistent. There's not a bad movie in the franchise. If you like scary movies or even suspense movies that maybe, they don't have an unstoppable killer like Jason or Michael Myers, Freddy, or Leatherface or anything like that, but you like more of a grounded serial killer type based movie to watch, I think the Stepfather series is probably right up your alley, and you'll probably like it quite a bit. And the Stepfather Part One, I maybe one day I'll think about doing a ranking of all these movies. All of them are really, really good. I suspect I'll probably pick one or two, probably Stepfather one or two towards the top, or probably definitely number one, because Terry O'Quinn, who has played the stepfather, by the way, in the series does a good job. Everybody. There's not a bad performance by any of the stepfather actors. But Terry O'Quinn is the one I grew up with, and he's the one that stands out to me. does a really, really fine, very good job. But you can see that there's a lot of depth to him in the other movies that he's been into. A lot of depth. I think he really gets into his characters, as do the other people too. But Terry O'Quinn, he's always had a unique look, and he has those eyes, and he's like he's studying things. He's got kind of a brilliant type face where just looking one way or the other, just acting a little does a lot. Doing a little, but making a big impact with very little movement and very little expression, because he does have a very expressive face, especially around the eyes. He's perfect for this serial killer type role. And if you haven't seen any of the Stepfathers, start your binge now, because I think you're in for a treat. The Stepfather with Terry O'Quinn, directed by Joseph Rubin. That's another thing I want to mention too. I don't have any script. I'm trying to go on memory. I make some mental notes. But Joseph Rubin is a good director. He directed Sleeping with the Enemy with Julia Roberts. He directed Dreamscape with Dennis Quaid, which was a good movie. And I think The Stepfather, though, if I were to decide, if I were to rank his movies, probably The Stepfather is my favorite of Joseph Rubin, all the movies that he's directed. And if you haven't seen it, it's really, really worth watching, especially if you're a horror fan. And it's one of my favorites, and maybe other review channels will start to. Even though my channel is not just solely for reviews, like I said, it started out as an art channel. Now I'm getting into the reviews for the past year or so. I have some exercise videos on my channel as well. Who knows what's going to happen in the future, but I do plan on to keep making movie reviews. At least that's the plan. Even though I'm a casual YouTuber, I do have a plan to continue doing movie reviews. So check this movie out, and if you haven't seen it, I think you'll like it. I think you'll like The Stepfather. It's well done. It doesn't have a slow pace. That's another thing I want to mention too. The pace is not slow. It's got a good pace, and it keeps you on edge. I think it does a really good job of building the suspense. Like when is he going to kill next? What's he going to do with his new family? And the beginning of the movie really lays out what this character does and who he is and how dangerous he is. So it opens with a bang, really does. And you'll find out very quick what kind of a person he is. And it's a good movie, very, very well done. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. This has been the Late Night Review. And have a good night, everybody.